Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the Dutch Grand Prix qualifying watch along. Yes, it's qualifying time once again. Oh, it feels like forever ago since we last sat here for qualifying watch along. It's been 4 weeks, but it feels like forever. It's fantastic to see you again. Hope you're having a great day, or have had a great day, or about to have a great day, wherever you are in the world. Let me know in chat where you're watching from. Good to see you all again. As always, I enjoy these Saturdays watch-alongs, as you know, and waffles, and it's all good stuff. And I think we've got a cracking qualifying session ahead. There's rain in the air, mixed up field, possibly very close at the front. We're not quite sure on yesterday's performance because we're not sure about the timings of laps. You know, Verstappen and Norris going slightly earlier than others, so did they not get the best track conditions? So many questions that we're all going to answer today. And the first question I'm throwing at you is, are we really looking at a situation here where Red Bull could be third fastest? Which again feels like a bonkers statement when you go back 6 months, but there you go. It's going to be close at the front, and I cannot wait for this one, as always. And I can't wait to talk to you all and enjoy this afternoon as well. So much has happened over the summer, and I want to tell you all about it, but you have to wait a little bit longer. So apologies, as I said in the pinned comment in the preview, for the lack of content over the summer. That was not my intention at all. I had plans for videos and streams and all sorts, but as Jonty can not tell you because he's not allowed, but as Jonty can testify or can defend me on here, it's been a busy few weeks. So next week, all that I was talking about before the summer break that I couldn't tell you about, I still can't tell you about, but I will be doing next week, and I'm very excited about the future, so I'll let you know. It's going to be good. Yeah, we've got another break before Singapore for some reason, Jonty, or back, after Singapore until the USA, 3 weeks for some reason. That calendar came out a year ago, and I've still not found any official reason why we have that gap. I'm just going to put it down to logistics, ? Maybe, I don't know, but yes, anyway, hope you're all good. Was my point there. It has been a long 4 weeks, CVB. It's felt like it, but it's been a lot of fun as well. So before we go any further, let's run through the result from FP3 this morning. For what it's worth is the phrase I'm going to go with. Pierre Gasly, fastest in the Alpine. Do not read too much into that. It does look exciting, but no. Kevin Magnussen, second place, 1.5-ish tenths behind. Bottas in third. Lando Norris in fourth. Fernando Alonso fifth. Ocon sixth. Seventh for Piastri. Eighth for Lance Stroll. Ninth for Nico Hulkenberg. And 10th for Carlos Sainz. 11th was Zhou Guanyu. 12th was Logan Sargeant. More on him in just a second. You might see some photos in a minute. George Russell 13th, Alex Albon 14th, Lewis Hamilton 15th, Charles Leclerc in 16th place. 17th was Max Verstappen, 18th Ricciardo, 19th Tsunoda, and Perez was 20th. Tsunoda and Perez getting a lap time in. The most laps today was 10 for Oscar Piastri, but everyone was around sort of 5, 6, 7 laps at most. We had rain at the start of the session, which delayed people going out, not many on track. And then Logan Sargeant had an absolutely almighty shunt at turn 4, the exit of turn 4. If you didn't see the accident, it came out at turn 3, wheels on the grass on the entry to turn 4, wet grass, wet track, white line, wet tyres, foot to the floor, spun the car straight into the wall. Massive impact. I think we got a good half an hour of barrier repairs as well, so not a lot happened after that. Session restarted with a couple of minutes to go so people could do practice starts, but that was basically it. But a huge jump for Sargeant. The latest from Williams, I should say, actually, sorry, that was awful. Logan Sargeant is fine, by the way. He's absolutely fine. No worries there. So he could take part in qualifying. Williams have released a statement, which a little bit surprising, actually, on 2 fronts here. So first things first, they say, we are assessing the chassis, but currently looks okay. When you look at those photos, it feels like a minor miracle that chassis is okay, but apparently it looks okay. They say we'll aim to repair and build up the chassis to be ready for qualifying. However, with the amount of work to be completed, it will be difficult, but we'll give it everything. So they are trying to build that car up for qualifying. Originally on the little ticker, if you like, at the bottom there, where I've got the stats and other things going along and the news, I did put that they weren't going to send him out because I just didn't think they would. So I'd be very, very surprised if Logan Sargeant gets that in qualifying. If he does, it's going to be the last couple of minutes of Q1. So there you go. But without sounding too catty to kick off the stream straight away, he probably would have been somewhere down the back anyway. So I don't think I don't think he's going to destroy his weekend. Well, let's say that Williams looked pretty pacey this weekend, but you can see there the damage. Car caught fire, a right mess for Williams. So I'm quite surprised that chassis is okay. There might be another update where they check it again and say actually no. But the big shunt for Logan. The most important thing, of course, is that he is okay. But it's first race back after Carlos Sainz has been announced as your replacement. Last thing you want to be doing is stick it in the wall in FP3. You don't want to do that anyway, of course you don't, but certainly not with things going on for him. But I think we're pretty sure he won't be in F1 at all next year. But yeah, CPB says, I've seen something online saying that he might get sacked for Antonelli at Monza. I've not seen that CPB, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. If you're going to put Antonelli in the car for the rest of the season, Monza's not a bad shout, given that it is his home Grand Prix, but that is only a week away, so Williams might not. So that is pure speculation, of course. I know that, but hopefully he can put in a performance, probably in the race tomorrow, that encourages Williams to keep hold of him. But we'll see what happens in the coming days on that one. Not a great start to the weekend, which is a shame. Yes, he's doing FP1 for Hamilton at Monza. I know that one. Yeah, thank you. I know that one. That's good news for Antonelli. He's going to need all the FP1 sessions he can get if he is going to be in that car next year. So that's good for him. But we'll see if that amounts to anything on the rumour mill. It's like Jonty says, Mercedes would probably love that to happen. 9 free races of experience for Kimi. Absolutely, but we'll see. I do want to say as well, if you watched the Sky coverage yesterday, James Vowles did an interview with the team there, and he's so well spoken and he's so good and so calm, and he explained everything around Carlos Sainz and when it all started and why we saw Carlos Sainz Senior and everybody else there in Abu Dhabi and what was going on there, and looking at the long-term future and how he sold the project to Sainz. It was a really interesting chat, and I love how open James Vowles is within reason. Obviously not allowed to tell us everything, but I love how open he is, and it was really interesting to get that insight about Carlos Sainz's move. So yeah, good stuff from James Vowles. Really enjoyed that one. Hey Anushka, hey Annette, good to see you. Hi Tiny as well. Yeah, we are getting on for 15 minutes away now from the session. Quick weather updates. I've not seen anything on the old Twitter, so we'll go to the weather thingy. What's it called? Weather site. There we go. That'll do. There's a thunderstorm warning at the moment for Zandvoort. The session local time kicks off at 3 p.m. And there is around about a 30% chance of rain, but that increases as the session goes on, so we might get some rain towards the end of the session, but we shall see on that one. It's been in the air all weekend, and it seems like it's quite unpredictable, but at the moment thunderstorms are around. Increases to a bit about 40% by the end of the session. So if we get any red flags, we could see a rain disrupted finale, which could be quite exciting in FP3. But yeah, thank you as well, by the way, for your votes on the poll. Which team will take pole position? McLaren, Mercedes, Red Bull, or other? 48% of you have made McLaren the favourite so far. Mercedes in second place on 24%. Red Bull just on second place on 25%. Mercedes third on 24%. And other, which, with respect to other teams, is Ferrari, really, isn't it? Is 3%. I wish we could have more in polls, because I put all 10 in there. Why not? Williams of poll. You never know. Yes. Any questions? Let's do Q&A as we always do at the start of these. Then we're waffling away while we get ready for the watch along, which will be in about 15 minutes' time, like I say. Lots to get into, I'm sure, as the session unfolds. And of course, we'll be live tomorrow. I've got Will with me again tomorrow for the race reaction. Then it is Stuart for Monza, I believe. Just clarifying that, because I may have said that the wrong way around a few weeks ago, but that's it. Yes, it is. It is Will tomorrow, live around 5 p.m-ish, somewhere around there, depending on red flag safety cars. And of course, Monza for Stuart as well. So, and like I said, keep an eye on the channel next week for an announcement of sorts. It's definitely an announcement. A good thing it's not in US with thunder about, says Del. Good point. Yeah, IndyCar. Well, anything. Don't like racing in thunderstorms. But trying to think if I had a red flag specifically for thunder and lightning before. Malaysia has had it before, haven't they? So like really bad thunderstorms and huge downpours. So maybe that's happened in the past, and that's been a factor. But yes, all these limited runnings because of rain during practice makes me hope for a mixed up grid. But I am delusional, says Hanny. Join the club. We're all delusional, especially for Ferrari fans. Very delusional. But yeah, no, it's a good point. Limited practice yesterday for Carlos Sainz. He had a gearbox problem. Somebody else had limited running yesterday as well, I think was where were you? Let's have a look at the list. There was somebody else who had limited running. Nico Hulkenberg. He'd had brake issues for Haas all weekend. specifically on Hulkenberg's car. We saw it this morning, braking into turn 1, and the car's just not stopping, and he's straight on into the wall. And that's a problem for Haas to get into, and I hope they can solve that, because it's gonna be a nightmare for them today in qualifying, particularly Hulkenberg. They had 2 shunts this weekend, not huge. I mean, his one yesterday was bigger than today, but it was pretty much side on into the wall at turn 1, and then today sort of tapped the wall at turn 1 quite fairly heavily, enough to damage the front wing and scatter some debris all over the track. But yeah, we also did see, I wanted to check some mentioned this before the session started, so apologies, I'll do it on the fly now. But we did see Max Verstappen, didn't we? Being summoned potentially for crossing the line. There's nothing here just yet. No, there's a summons for Nico Hulkenberg, but nothing for Max Verstappen. He sort of touched or crossed the white line, going around the outside of George Russell. That would usually be a fine. We're not looking at a sporting penalty there for that, but I just wanted to see if that had come in, but no, nothing just yet. If Leclerc takes pole today, I'll send a risky text, says Anushka. Fair enough. Each to their own. If it's raining, I vote Stroll for pole. Says Badiou. Stroll does like those cooler conditions, as me and John to keep banging on about. He does enjoy that one. How good do you think Lewis will do today, considering the weather could favour the Mercs more? Says Aditya. Yeah, I mean, look, it rains. The Mercedes is quick. You've got to put Lewis Hamilton into that mix, haven't you? I think from what we've seen so far this weekend, it does look like McLaren versus Mercedes, but the problem is, again, those runs from yesterday morning or yesterday afternoon, Norris and Verstappen went a little bit earlier than the others. Not massively early, but enough on a track like this with track evolution and improving conditions. So we can't really read a huge amount into that, but I'd be very surprised if Max Verstappen isn't in the mix somewhere today for pole position. A lot of people talking about, McLaren for pole in Belgium, and Verstappen came out and still did it. So I'm not going to rule him out. I think you're looking at the Mercedes, the McLaren, and Verstappen for pole. I would love nothing more than for Sergio Perez to be on pole position today and then go on and pick up a win or a podium tomorrow. But I think it is a Red Bull and then the McLarens and the Mercedes in that mix as well. It's going to be close. It is going to be close. I mean, this morning's really tough to read into, like I say. But yesterday, 600ths between Russell and Piastri. Russell fastest. A 10th between Russell and Hamilton. Norris and Verstappen 2.5, just over tenths. Off Russell again, went slightly earlier. Bit of a bigger gap back to Alonso, 6/10. Ferrari don't seem to be anywhere this weekend, so prepare for depression if you're a Ferrari fan. I'm sure there are a few tuning in, definitely. But hopefully Ferrari will be better than they were yesterday in terms of pace. Perez only 12th yesterday. I've missed that somehow. 8, nearly 9/10 off. But there are a couple of things, actually. Anushka's just asking about Liam Lawson for next season. A couple of things worth a mention, actually, on Red Bull. Christian Horner quite defensive to Sky in an interview about why they kept Perez. Which is understandable. He is their team principal. He's going to, of course, be defensive of his drivers, but sort of saying that effectively, if they felt they needed to make the change, they would have made the change, and they feel that he's the best option for them right now, which is fair enough. That's their call. But Helmut Marko said in the week that Liam Lawson would be in a Red Bull car next season. Christian Horner has since come out and clarified that he will have a drive for next season, and didn't sort of rule out the possibility of setting out on loan as well. Where he goes out on loan, I have no idea. We know that we've got Jack Doohan on the grid now for next year. He's been confirmed at Alpine. That was earlier today, or was yesterday. So no seat there for him. That leaves Sauber as a possibility, maybe alongside Nico Hulkenberg, but all signs seem to point to Bottas for that seat. And then what's left after that? Thinking about it, I can't think who's got a seat available after that. Other than possibly going to RB, but I don't see where else they loan him out to. It's not going to be Alpine. They've confirmed their lineup. Haas have confirmed their lineup. Williams have confirmed their lineup. So it is really only RB or Sauber or maybe the Red Bull seat. But I don't know. I don't know on Lawson. I think again, I don't like the word deserved. I hate saying that word. You've got to earn it, and I think he earned an opportunity last season for a seat. And if he fails, he fails. But I think he showed enough in his sub role last year to get himself a drive. But we'll see what happens. I think things are going to start to. I mean, Antonelli's going to be at Mercedes pretty confident on that one. Unless something dramatic happens. I mean, who else is there realistically for that seat? So I think RB and Red Bull can wait. They've got their options. Mercedes can hang on if they want to as well, but I don't know why they would. And Sauber can wait to see what happens too. So we'll see where we go. But I'm pretty. I would say Lawson in an RB, Bottas at Sauber, and Antonelli at Mercedes have been my final 3 picks for the final 3 seats. Your favourite driver, says Aaron. Oh, good question. So I have multiple. My favourite of all time is Michael Schumacher. He's my hero. But on the current grid, Verstappen, Leclerc, anybody in the Ferrari really. Piastri is in there as well. I do really like. I'm really warming to Alex Albon. I've not been 100% on whether or not, not as a person, but as a driver, how good he is. But I think he's really shining at the moment. I do like the Alpine lads as well. So there's a few. I'm sort of past my fanboy phase now at my age. So, but yeah, they're my moves. They're my favourite drivers and they're my driver moves. A bit of news from Twitter. Sky Germany asked Mick Schumacher when he was told that Jack Doohan got the Alpine seat, and he said he found it out through social media. That's from John T. Ugh, that's not nice, is it? A bit like... who else found out? Somebody else found out. Was it Mick Schumacher who found something else out by social media? I'm thinking of somebody else. There was somebody else in F1 who found out they'd been dropped on socials. And I can't remember who it was. I always think of Kevin Magnussen getting dropped on his birthday, but he got a phone call, didn't he, on his birthday? Which is like the worst birthday ever. First of all, Ron Dennis calls you. That's a terrifying thought anyway. And then secondly, to drop you on your birthday. I mean, that's terrible. But yeah, no. I never really thought Mick was in the mix for that. I thought it would be Jack Doohan. Or they go for a Carlos Sainz if he was still available, that sort of thing. But no, they've gone with Jack Doohan. Right call. Absolutely right call. Give him a chance. I think we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago. First Renault Academy driver to be promoted to the Renault Works team since I think we said Jolyon Palmer we worked out, didn't we, in the end? So because Zhou didn't get the promotion, Piastri got the promotion with McLaren and not with Renault. Zhou came in with Sauber, so it's been a long time, and yeah, a long time since it happened, but it's about time it did. And I think the fascination now is on what happens at Red Bull, but I think both drivers are right in what they're saying. Ultimately, if Perez performs, that's all he can do is perform. All Daniel Ricciardo can do is perform, and they'll have to make a decision. But it's ballsy to come out from Helmut does, doesn't he? But to come out and say Liam Lawson will be in one of our cars next year, because that piles of pressure on both Perez and Ricciardo. But maybe both of them need that little bit of pressure. I don't know. There's quite a lot of pressure at Red Bull anyway, so maybe they don't. But just going to the adverts now on Sky. So we are 7 minutes away from the start of qualifying. I'll keep that poll open for now. Please do vote on the poll. Don't forget to drop a like as well. Should I say it? Yeah, go on then. I'm going to say it. The watch-alongs, without sounding like a YouTuber, the long-term future of them completely depends on how they perform. So please do drop a like, share it as well. If you've got anyone who can't watch live, want to listen to me talk nonsense and mute Crofty and listen to my B-Tech commentary instead, feel free. That'd be great. So please do drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe as well. I'll do shout-outs for subs as well today, like I do in the watch-alongs. The more the merrier, and welcome if you are new to the channel. It'd be great to have you along for the ride. A very exciting long-term future ahead for the channel, which is a relief. It's a relief is what it is. I'll tell you that for nothing. Anushka, unpopular opinion, Hamilton will not win the championship in Ferrari. Says LH44 fans, please don't kill me. Yeah. Anushka, what can I say? Ferrari fan here. I don't think anyone's ever going to win. It feels like no one's ever going to win a world championship with Ferrari, so wouldn't actually surprise me too much. CPB says, I'd rather listen to this than F1 Kids. Are they on this weekend? Okay. The best thing about F1 Kids is the graphics they get. I quite like them. They're cool. But then I'm weird. I don't know. I don't think anything positive happens for RB drivers anytime Marco opens his mouth. Says Citizen Erased. He's got a way with words, hasn't he? A real way with words. I better start getting this watch along prepared, hadn't I? So if you're just tuning in, welcome to the part of the stream where Sean tries to talk and multitask. It's fun. It's so much fun. Get the live time. So the live time will be provided again by Multiviewer, as we have been doing for the last few. Assume we're working okay. Please don't break. PC sounds like it's having a whale of a time down there. A bit cooler in the UK today, so PC might be fine. Ah, the fun. So, do you think Danny Rick has to go? As his big man Pats. Has to is harsh. I think if he can match Tsunoda, Perez continues to struggle, he might get his chance at Red Bull. I think he said himself it's Red Bull or bust. So, does he really want to stick around at RB for another season? I'm not sure. He could go elsewhere and have a whale of a time. Yeah, IndyCar, for example. I think he'd had a lot of fun over there. But I don't think... A lot of people disagree with this, but I don't think he's done enough at the moment for me to sit here and say, oh, yes, he should absolutely be on that seat next year. But there are still 10 races to go, so he could. And he does, in fairness, I went through over the summer because I kind of made a few snarky comments about him and put people talking about how he's improving. And I was like, oh, wow, great. When you actually go back and look at the stats in full, Daniel Ricciardo is definitely showing improvement. So if he can keep that up, he might get a shot, but I'm just not convinced that I would keep him. And it's nothing against him. He's a nice guy, and I get why people keep him, but he's one of his, you know what I'm like. I'm one of those people that I want to see drivers turn it around who have struggled. I want Perez to turn it around. I love Ricciardo too. I'd love others who have struggled to turn it around. That's just the way I am. Underdog stories. But if the decision was mine, I wouldn't keep Ricciardo next year. But I have to caveat that with the fact I am a bit of a Liam Lawson. I said my fanboy days behind, but I suppose I could start to lean that way for Liam Lawson a little bit. Followed his career for quite a while, so I wouldn't keep him, but it wouldn't surprise me if they kept hold of him. So 4 minutes away from the start of quali. They're just kicking the music in now on Sky. So I'll start to get everything set up. I think we're about ready to go. Now, is studio mode going to work for me? It crashed my PC the other week, which was fun. It seems to be. So that's okay. Yeah, lovely. Right, let's go over to the watch on screen and make sure everything's set up, ready to go. Like I say, not quite. Live time provided by F1, or multi-viewer for F1, I should say. Thank you to those guys for allowing me to use this. Obviously, links to all of their stuff in the description. If you haven't got this or this on your setup, definitely have a look at getting hold of it. It's free to use, but you do need at least an F1 TV access subscription, which I think in the UK is £2.29 a month, so it's well worth it. And you get lots of data there. I mean, I've got all sorts open at the moment to keep an eye on, so hopefully all works well. And if you get the opportunity to grab it, definitely grab it. Customize your streams. Very exciting. I know, very exciting. Don't forget as well, I'll say the line. I'll say it. There's no on-track footage for obvious copyright reasons. If you've been following what's been going on in the summer, it's already squeaky bum time with the channel name. I'm not going to start showing on-track footage from drivers because that will be a guaranteed see you later, Sean. Not going to happen. So yes, there we go. I've had nothing, I should say, over the summer. I know some channels say they have, others haven't. I know Will's had an absolute nightmare over the summer with FOM, but there you go. That's what they're like. They do this every couple of years or every year or so. They like to do this. Everything's okay here for now, though. But yeah, it might not be forever. We're just watching the Logan Sargeant crash from FP3 on the TV right now. Big shunt. Glad it was okay. Car caught fire, but it's never nice to see those sort of things, is it? Big shunts like that. I know people enjoy crashes, but certainly not in practice. Maybe he's practicing his crashes. I don't know. Yeah, just a couple of minutes to go then. I'm just getting myself into position, so apologies for any random noises. I'm going to be fully transparent here as well. I've got the football on as well. I'm just keeping an eye on, and I think we've just got 2-1 up. So I won't. Don't worry. My full focus on qualifying. I won't. I'm just keeping an eye on the score. That's all. I won't focus on the football too much. Or will I? It becomes a football watch along. Why not? Why not? Because it's an F1 channel, Sean. Why would you? Let's look at Lewis Hamilton. We're getting ready to go. Timer on screen, just above the timing. Just in the Dutch Grand Prix qualifying 1. And I'll put the green flag on when we get going, which is just a few seconds away now, which is very exciting. Max wishes for a Vettel comeback to F1, but not going to happen. I love Seb. I think most people love Seb these days. A lot didn't used to. A lot love him now, but he's... Yeah. I quite like that he's sort of doing his thing now. He's quite happy, isn't he? Maybe Audi wouldn't be a terrible idea for the future. Yeah. That's because I can't see where else it's going to go. Mercedes aren't going to take him, are they? In that car. We are green, by the way. We are go, go, go for FP. For Q1, he has that German connection with Aldi. Says Del. He does, yes. I have the German connection with Aldi as well. I'm going to start saying Aldi, aren't I? Just even if that's not how you pronounce it, I'm going to have to start saying Aldi just so you know the difference. But then you're going to think I'm talking about myself. Max and Seb at Red Bull, says Alfie Alpha. That could be good fun. Out on track then, who have we got? The track map isn't working, but we have got somebody out on track. I'll tell you why the track map isn't working. Bear with me 2 seconds. And by 2 seconds, I mean at least an hour. Was it 9 seconds or 9.5 seconds to sync up with TV? Bear with me a second. There we go. Just trying to work it. I think we're good. Yes, we seem to be good. Yes, we are. Sorry, it just takes a second. I just completely forgot to sync it up. I was like, why is nobody on track? Zhou, Hulkenberg, Bottas, Albon, Ocon, and Gasly out there. Lots of people at pit exit as well. Yes, let's see. I'm hoping Hulkenberg is going to be okay here. And whatever issues they've got with these brakes, they're able to resolve them. So we've got Hulkenberg. He's going to be first to do a lap, I believe. He will be indeed. Followed by Zhou. What are we thinking, chat, by the way, of this track? Are you fans? Are you not fans? I had a couple of people in the comments to the preview. If you're not seeing the preview, by the way, even though it's pointless now, please give it a watch. Give it some love. It didn't do too well this week. Completely expected, given the lack of content over the summer. But if you can give it a like and a quick watch, that'd be fantastic. Thank you. But yeah, a few people say they didn't like the track. But I wouldn't say it's one of my favourites, but I really love it's the roller coaster feel of it. It's proper old school, and I watched the highlights back for 2021, first time here since '85, and you're watching the cars, and they're not dangerous. You know, they're more dangerous than they usually are, but it just looks so crazy and unpredictable those first few laps, and it's why I love old school tracks. As Bottas comes through to start his lap, Hulkenberg a bit twitchy there on the exit of turn 10, DRS wide open. He's gonna be first to get a lap into this awkward chicane with the super glued gravel on the exit. Through that looks okay through 12. Into the final couple of corners. Don't forget DRS opens around the final corner as well, which is what they're calling a virtual straight for some reason. I assume that's just to do with the line you're taking through there. Overline goes Hulkenberg, 1:13.062. First one to get a lap in. Next up will be... I've lost people on the map here. I was trying to because the map's the wrong way round. I did it the other way around. I was in my preview. Zhou goes second, 13.719. We're on board with Carlos Sainz coming through the chicane now to start his lap, winding up for that one. Then we're going to get Magnussen's going to start his lap. Is Alonso on a hot lap or a... It looks like he's on a hot lap, a warm lap. A lukewarm lap. He goes 6th overall, but no lap time just yet. So lots of out laps at the moment, trying to work out who's doing what. It's a fairly short lap as well, isn't it? The pace as well. So... Roll says if the cars were smaller, this track would be a banger. I think in terms of racing, yeah, I agree. I think it's a banger anyway to watch. But it's difficult to get side by side, isn't it? But one thing I did say in the preview as well is you look at like turn 3, the banking there, watching cars overtake each other through there. It's quite spectacular, and I think. As Gasly goes fast on a 12.2, Ocon second on a 12.5. I think we actually got more action here than a lot of us feared we would do when F1. It was a bit like Imola. Imola has its ups and downs, but I think we've seen more action over the last few years at Imola and Zandvoort than I think a lot of people feared. I thought they all thought it was going to be a bit Monaco-y. They're not the best, and it's not, overtake fest or anything like that, but I feel like we've seen more side-by-side action, particularly here, than I was expecting in 2021. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. They actually have corner names. Yes, they do. But my pronunciation, as always, is horrific. So I'm going to go with numbers today, I think. Tarzan. I can say Tarzan. Is it Hugenholtz? Sites go 7th on a 112. Only 7th for Sites, 112.7. Everyone on fresh tyres. There'll be lots of these available, by the way, because of all the rain this weekend. Leclerc, purple in the middle sector. Perez a 1:11.9, only third. So Stroll is fastest. Albon second. Perez only third here. And like I say, Sainz down in 8th place. So it could be quite a lot of track, quite a green track for the rain this morning and across the weekend. So this is going to be one of those potentially last across the line kind of moments. Piastri fastest 11.541. There you go. I've got him down for pole position today. We'll do predictions just for before Q3. Q3, sure. We're in qualifying, not practice. Yeah, Hamilton on the mediums. Softs for everybody but Hamilton. Sargeant still in the pits. Verstappen still in the pits as well. So yeah, Logan Sargeant hasn't got out just yet. I would be very surprised if we see him. Someone's mentioned the onboard. Where are you? I'll try and give you a shout out for that one. Roll again. It's a great... When I wear my glasses, it doesn't sit well with me. When I take them off, it looks fantastic. So that's not a complaint, and I'm not being, an old moany man about it, but when I got my glasses on, it's a bit blah. When I take them off, it looks fantastic. Just the movement in there, it really gives you a feel for what's going on the track. But it's, yeah, that's... Is that the future of onboards? Is that we're going to get these every race now in the future? Or is this going to be one of those things that we have, like the visor cam, just on certain cars every now and again? Like, go the pedal cam we used to have in the footwell. Hamilton fastest, by the way, on the mediums on a 1:11.375. So that's on the medium tyre. So is that the tyre to be on at the moment, maybe? I don't know, unless he's going to stay out and just do a few laps at a time. Quite surprising to see the medium out there. We'll double check if we get a shot of him and make sure there's not a glitch on the timing screen. I don't know, but yeah, it doesn't go. Yeah, it's good. The pedal cam was great. I don't know why they took that away. It gave us an insight. It didn't really tell us an awful lot, did it? But it was still nice to see. We're at Monza next week. Those corner names are nice and easy, says Max. Yes. Well, it's the Parabolica, but I think it's the Parabolica Alboreto now, or the Alboreto Parabolica, isn't it? Ascari Chicane, the Lesmos, Curva Grande, the first chicane, which I've forgotten the name of completely, which is horrific as an F1 fan. You can all tell me off for that. That's terrible. The resurfaced first chicane, not reprofiled. I've checked. It's not been reprofiled. It's not tighter. It looks tighter because of the way they've resurfaced it and the way they put the curves, but it's not. Leclerc is on question mark tyres. Retafilio. Thank you, John T. That's a proper ticking off, that is. Proper ticking. I should know that. That should be first out of my mouth, but no. Parabolica. Alex Albon's going to start a lap then. We'll keep an eye on him. He's on the soft tyres. I think... Yeah, no, Hamilton now, it says was on the soft tyre. I wonder if that was a glitch. But it is saying he is now on the soft tyre, so it wasn't the mediums. So a timing screen glitch there. And it was on the official screen as well. So that removes that. If Hamilton's doing that on the mediums and being clear of the McLarens, he's favourite for the win. But he wasn't on the mediums, so there we go. Albon only 2/10 off, so a good lap here from Alex Albon again. There's some pacing at Williams this weekend. Which is why it's a shame Logan Sargeant probably isn't going to get out there. Have we had an update from Williams? I can't check, can I? 'Cause it's on the wrong screen. So there we go. We'll have to have a look later. But I don't think we're going to see Sargeant. Be amazed. What's he going to do to the middle sector? Alex Albon, 49.760 from Hamilton. It's a 50 points. Where is it? Where is he? He's gone on the time screen. 50 points something. So 25.9 in the middle. Verstappen's purple, by the way, in the first sector. He's now on track on a hot lap. Still Logan Sargeant in the pits, probably where he's going to stay. Bottas is on a lap as well. First over the line is Albon. Doesn't improve his position, but does slightly improve his time, I think. Was certainly personal best first and final sector. Bottas is 16th, goes slightly faster. Verstappen a 10th down the middle sector. So this is, I meant to say this at the start actually, that's your key today, the middle sector. McLaren and Mercedes stronger than Red Bull in the middle sector. So that is where they've been losing their time, and that is consistent with that. So he's lost just over a 10th to Hamilton in that middle sector at least. What did Verstappen do? 25.6 versus 25.4. So a 10th and a half, 2/10 in there. So that's where they're going to struggle, I think, Red Bull this weekend. Where did you check the turn one change at Monza? Last I saw, they'd opened up the outside of both turns and got rid of the escape road. I can't remember, Jonty, but I checked it because somebody had... I'll have a look, see if I find you the link, but somebody had said to me that, they've tightened the first corner, but they've not actually reprofiled it, as in they've not tightened the corner anymore. It looks it looks it when you do the side-by-sides, but it's not actually been tightened, but I don't know what they've done with the escape road, so I have to have a look at that. I didn't really look. I was looking specifically at the tightness of the corner. I might be wrong. There might be an official thing that comes out from Pirelli or something on Monday that says that it has been reprofiled, but that's the information I have at the moment is that it isn't. So see if you can find it. It's out there somewhere. I can't remember where I looked for it or where I found it, the information on it. But yeah, 7:45 to go in this session. There is 3, of course, if you're new to F1. This will determine who gets knocked out. The bottom 5, currently Ocon, Ricciardo, Bottas, Zhou, and Sargeant. Then we'll have Q2 and then Q3, which will decide pole position. So here comes Gasly over the line, fastest in FP3, 5th fastest, 111.7, 3.5 tenths off Lewis Hamilton. So good stuff there from him. Ocon needs a lap. He's just coming through to complete Zhou, 1.2 seconds off the pace, down in 19th place. Improvement for Tsunoda into 14th on a 1:12.369. Hamilton and Perez impeding has been noted. Ocon does improve to 12th place on a 1:12 flat. Ricciardo does a 1:12.3 into 15th. And George Russell comes to the line on a 1:11.904 to take 9th place. Hulkenberg comes through that final corner, that banked final corner. What's he going to do? Big improvement up to 7th place, 1:11.832. That puts Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Bottas, and Zhou in the bottom 5 with Logan Sargeant. Yeah, I'll say it again. If you're just tuning in, Sargeant probably not going out. Not a great surprise. We're watching the impeding here, potentially. Hamilton and Perez. That's one of those, could go either way. When you see the replay, let me know what you think. But I think Hamilton, he's well out wide, trying to stay out of Perez's way. So he's trying to stay out of the way. And I'm not really sure, other than going onto the grass, I'm not really sure what Hamilton can do there. Maybe he could have been inside. But yeah, I'm not sure that'll be a penalty. It'll be one that Red Bull will ask for, but I don't think, looking at it again, I don't think that's going to be a pen. I suppose it's going to come down to communication. If he was told by Bono last minute to get out of the way, then maybe you could see a penalty there. But other than taking the inside line of that corner, he can't just drive on the grass. Well, he can drive on the grass if he wants to, but I'm not sure on that. It'd be interesting in actual. I don't like the nose cone shot, never have, but I'd like to see the T-cam shot of Perez there. I don't know what's going on. I have no grip, sliding all over the place, says George Russell. Yeah, I don't know what to add to that. So I was looking at 2 things at once. They're trying to work out who's doing what, but I think it's used tyres because everyone's been out and done laps. That's why I'm just trying to work out if anyone's actually used tyres. Maybe for second runs, perhaps. 5 minutes to go. I hate that 5 minutes to go warning, and the 2 minute one as well flashes up red, and I think somebody's crashed. But Lance Stroll is coming through now to do a lap. Dell says if it's Sargeant or Ocon, everyone will be calling for a penalty. Not in that situation at all. I don't think, other than evaporating, I'm not sure what Hamilton can do there, or stopping, which is probably just as dangerous. But it depends on what Hamilton's defensive. If he's misjudged Perez's pace and decided to stay outside, and actually Perez wasn't as quick, then maybe there's a penalty there. But it's not like he was sat in the middle of the track in his way. There was space, but it's a tricky one. It's one of those things as well. With it comes with Monaco and Imola and any track that's narrow. There's going to be moments like this where you sort of go, if he gets a penalty, I'm not going to be angry at that decision. If he doesn't get a penalty, I'm also not going to be angry at that decision. These kinds of tracks, if that's Bahrain and all the space in the world and how wide that track is, we'll have a different conversation. But I'm not going to just sit here and start throwing around penalty. I'm not getting into the FIA bias bollocks either. That's bollocks. I'm sure they have their biases as stewards. A lot of people don't like Johnny Herbert as a driver steward for some reason, but there you go. Yeah, Gasly 6th, Kevin. Yes. Stroll 4th. I was talking about him over the line, wasn't I? But we got chatting about that. So still quite damage to the grass there. Well, Logan Sargeant went over it earlier, so you might have spotted that. So, yeah, that was a big shunt this morning. Kevin Magnussen is out. I think everyone now going to start heading out. The only driver, what are we thinking of the cutoff? I didn't see the cutoff on screen. We've got a queue in the pit lane. No great surprises there with 3 minutes to go. 0.02 of a second between Hamilton and Norris. Yeah, let me know what you think. I missed there we go. 11.9 is the projected cutoff. So really, certainly Hulkenberg down. Probably put Gasly in there as well. You probably look at the 11.5s before you could argue they're comfortable, but you've also got to remember the track evolution. Things are going to improve, aren't they, as the track ramps up? So that's an interesting one. Remember 11.9. See how far they were off with their projection. So here comes Max Verstappen then. He is currently third, 18 thousandths. Or a hundredth if you prefer, just over, or nearly just a 200th, off the fastest time by Lewis Hamilton. Everybody on track except Gasly, Perez at the moment, but they are in the queue at the end of the pit lane. Time is ticking though, 2 minutes to go. Perez is out there now. Gasly should be the last one out at the pit lane with 2 minutes to go. So it might be quite close here. Yes, quali has started, mate. We're well underway. Just coming to the end of Q1 at the moment. A minute and 50 to go. Still got two full sessions yet. Plenty to go yet. So what's Verstappen going to do? He's not improving. Yellow in the first sector. Zhou and Bottas both improving. Bit of a swapper on there from Verstappen. Half a second down Verstappen in the middle sector. So this is not an improvement. So Max, he can go again if he's not used up. In fact, has he backed off a bit there maybe? Yeah, backing off. Maybe just looking at might go again here. He's got time. But yeah, Verstappen not improving. What's he said? Not happy by the sounds of it on the radio. So yeah, Verstappen, does he pits? Yes, he does. Verstappen pits. So that's it for him. But he should be okay there. Should be okay there. Right, here we go. Here come the laps then. So Magnussen over the line does a 1:11.6 up into 6th place for Kevin Mag. Purple final sector from K-Mag. Very good lap there up into 6th place. Still Lance Stroll in 4th. Is the standout at the moment for me. Used tyres as well for Verstappen, apparently chat are saying. So that's, yeah, Verstappen, Hamilton, Norris. Yeah, they will do, won't they? No point burning this out. They should be safe. They just need to be out there. Sainz, only 700ths quicker than Bottas, a time he needs to get out of Q1. So Carlos Sainz here, preparing for next year at Williams potentially. Oh, you bitch. Hopefully Carlos can get through there. Tsunoda jumps up to 7th place on a 1:11.6. Albon up into 4th. Great lap from Alex Albon on a 1:11.5. Ricciardo improves to 13th place on a 1:11.9. Sainz 2.5 Tesla, that's better. Should be through from there. Russell slightly improving over his personal best, but slightly down on Hamilton. Leclerc improving as well. Ocon, Bottas, Sainz show in the bottom 5. In fact, Sainz is 18th at the moment. This should be an improvement as Alonso goes 4th on a 1:11.4. Carlos Sainz, that's better. He goes fastest to 1:11.3. Very good lap there from Carlos Sainz. That ends that one. Russell is half a second up on Sainz's time in the middle sector and is purple. So the track has ramped up a little bit. Perez is purple in the first sector. He needs this lap. He's in the drop zone at the moment. Leclerc goes 13th to 2nd on 11.3, just behind his teammate. George Russell over the line will improve, absolutely. He goes fastest on 1:11 flat, and Sergio Perez has improved again. Over the line he goes. He should be through. He's not over the line yet. He's going to find a couple of corners into that banked final turn. Purple, green, and Sergio Perez is fastest on a 1:11.049. This is potentially very, very interesting. Sergio Perez fastest then in Q1. That is the checkered flag for the first session of 3. 1:11.006 for Perez, a 1:11.049 for Russell. Half a tenth between them. Sainz a bit further back there. The track was improving at the end there, I think, and they had fresher tyres on too, as did Sainz and Leclerc. A 1:11.3 for Sainz and a 1:11.3 as well for Leclerc. Very close. Hamilton 1:11.3, as was Norris and Verstappen. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers on 1:11.3. 111.3. Wow. Alonso 8th place, 111.4. Great lap from Alex Albon, 111.5 for P9. Stroll 111.5 as well for P10. 111.5 for Piastri in 11th. 11.6 for Tsunoda. 11.6 for Magnussen as well. 11.7 for Gasly. 11.8 for Hulkenberg. And then knocked out in Q1, Daniel Ricciardo, Esteban Ocon, Valtteri Bottas, Zhou Guanyu, and Logan Sargeant, who of course did not go out because of that damage from FP3. So there we go. Checo fastest. You see. You're all talking eights, but you might still end up 8th place. But, enjoy this, Checo. That's what he needed there. And I think they were saying this morning, actually, of the 4 tracks this season, the next 4 races, this is his weakest. So if he can perform here, that's great news. But obviously, it's only Q1. There is a long way to go yet in this session. So we'll see what he can do. But yes, we've lost Ricciardo, Ocon, Bottas, Zhou, and of course, Logan Sargeant. So this is going to be close. It's close is what I said at the start of the session. It's still close now. Bearing in mind, you might look at the times and say what you're on about, Sean, but bearing in mind Hamilton, Norris, Verstappen didn't do second runs on new tyres. So they are on used tyres, their second runs. So will be fascinating to see when everyone's on those fresh, soft tyres at the end of Q3, what is going to go on there. So this is going to be... Oh, can't wait. Thank you to, is it Heike or Heike for your sub? Really appreciate that. Drunk, drank, drink. That's a mouthful. So was the drink. Thank you for your sub as well. And Umashanka, I think it is. I might be wrong, but I'm terrible at pronunciation if you're new, so I do apologise. Thank you for subscribing. Don't forget, if you are new, please do subscribe. Really, really helps the channel. With a sub, it's free as well. Don't forget to drop a like too. We're nearly at 100, 900 of you here. We've got to get that up a few more yet. Let's get that well over 100 before we get into Q2. That'd be fantastic. Every like, they're free. They really help the channel out in the algorithm, and that's always appreciated. Like I say, these watch-alongs are all going to, the future of them long term is all going to come down to performance. So, and that's like I say, that's a really boring YouTuber answer. But it's the truth. So there we go. The better they do in the algorithm, the more we can do. There you go. So check every point again. Max needs to learn how to put a quali lap in on the fastest car, says username. Yes, if there's one thing Max to struggle with, it's qualifying laps. That's tongue in cheek. I'm being sarcastic. Thank you to John as well, John Lenger, for your sub. Appreciate that one. Out of nowhere. Yes, absolutely out of nowhere. The track is improving. I think that's the big thing, says Rolly there, saying that it's improving. It was Ocon looked like he was through, didn't he? Initially with that lap, or had a shot at being through, and then he ends up 17th. I think he jumped to 12th. So we have got the usual investigations on Russell, Hamilton, Stroll and co for failing to follow maximum delta time, and of course we know after the session it will be investigated. Perez and Hamilton impeding Perez there. Mixed views on that one. Some saying it absolutely is a penalty, others saying it could go either way. I'm on the either way one, but we'll see what the stewards decide. Perez angry, saying that he feels that what Hamilton did was worse than he's been penalised for in the past. So he's pretty sure there should be a penalty there. Hey to Kiefer, good to see you. Hope you're well. C64 says sack Sargeant. I'm sure you're not alone in that one. Thank you to Aiden for your subs with reading glasses on. Sorry, that was terrible. And CLS 1803 as well. Thank you for subscribing. Really appreciate you joining the team, the club, the weird little family we've got here over at the F1 Word. Very weird family. And don't look at the football, Sean. It's depressing. Let's see what's happening. Anthony Davidson. He's the man with the sense. Don't start chat. He is. You know he is. Of everyone at Sky, he's the one. Yeah. Sorry, you can hear, if you look at Sky, you can hear half of this what's happening here, and I'm just going, yeah. Sorry, that's not great entertainment, is it? Anthony Davis is sort of I think from what I can hear, is sort of making the point there that Hamilton's trying to stay out of the way. There's not much more he can do, but he is still in the way. So this is what I mean by could go either way. When you look at that, and Anthony Davidson's right, what I said, he can't just evaporate. he is trying to stay out of the way, but he is still in the way. So it depends on how the stewards decide to interpret that one. We'll find out in the coming hours, I'm sure. What I would say then is that I hope, and I'll probably get a load of stick for this now, that Hamilton doesn't get pole, because I don't want one of those situations where a driver gets pole, then we're waiting for 3 hours to find out if he's actually kept it. So it would be good to see, like Russell or Verstappen or Leclerc, Sainz ideally, or Norris or Piastri up there for pole, and Hamilton maybe second or third, just so that it doesn't, because it's the same with the George Russell thing in Belgium. It's a slam dunk. We are go, by the way, for the second session. It's a slam dunk penalty in Belgium, but it still sucks that the race winner, who we've all watched on the podium, loses that a few hours after the race. And it wasn't a few hours, actually. It was quite quick, wasn't it, in fairness to them? So, yeah. I'll leave the waffling. Here we go. We are away. Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc both out on track. Should be noted on the used tyres, they did go for that final run in Q1. Used tyre in Q1, yeah. So that final run, that extra run to try and get through. So they are on the used for this, so bear that in mind. Nobody on track at the moment, everybody else in the pit lane, so it'll be a bit quiet just to start with. I'm aware my comment will probably age worse than little Aldi milk. Says, what have I missed? Watch Perez smash it for the rest of the season now and get podiums in every race. I love that. I would. Yeah. I've got nothing to add. I'm trying to think of something really interesting to add to that. But other than, I've got nothing. So there we go. It's just this awkward phase, that little gap in between sessions, the drivers winding up with their first laps. These Ferrari laps aren't going to mean an awful lot because they are on the used tyres. So we'll read into it what we can. But if you are just tuning in, we've already lost Ricciardo, Ocon, Bottas and Zhou. And of course, as we already know, Logan Sargeant didn't go out for obvious reasons. If you caught FP3, if you didn't, big crash. He's okay. Thank you to, is it Knee63? Enduro Boys. Thank you very much for your sub there. Appreciate it. Sorry, I'm trying to read your name without reading glasses on is like, I don't know. It's terrible, really. It is. Sainz purple, not a great surprise. Leclerc will go for it as well now. Like I say, used tyres. Not much to read into this one. I'm not going to read that, John T, but yes. At some stage, I'm sure. I don't know. I'm waiting for these laps to come in now. Just have a quick drink, actually, because then I'll be ready for this big final 12 minutes or so. Car's still not moving the pit lane. So maybe waiting for better track conditions. I don't know. Can't be tyre saving because they've not used a lot of dry tyres this weekend outside of FP2, have they? Because of the rain. So can't be a lot there. Maybe I'm wrong. Sainz has gone fastest. Again, no great surprise. A 1:11.8. Now Leclerc goes fastest on a 1:11.6. What can we read into that? Just over a tenth and a half, just under 2 tenths, however you want to look at it, between the Ferrari drivers in Leclerc's favour. Good laps, I suppose, on the used tyres, but now we're just waiting to see everybody else. We have movement in the pit lane, I believe. We've got a McLaren on the move. Piastri is coming out now. We've got Hulkenberg as well. So here we go. Now things are going to get interesting. Now this is a good time for rain, says Kevin. Yeah, bit of rain now. let Albon, Piastri, Tsunoda, Gasly get their laps in first, then it can rain. Get them through into Q3. In all reality, I think Mercs or Ferraris will get pole, says Anushka. Not McLaren. Don't you fancy McLaren for pole? McLaren or Mercedes? I mean, first of all, how lovely is it to be sat here umming and ahhing about who's going to take pole position? Anushka's put 2 teams in there. I'm not sure on Ferrari. And I'm sat here saying, what about McLaren? What about Red Bull? We've got 3 or 4 teams in there. It's still rain in the air, question mark from Verstappen. Was told by GP, that's correct. So rain is around. But yeah, it's lovely. 3 or 4 teams battling at the front is what we want to see. Let's not get greedy and ask for 5, but that's ace. I think it's going to be a great end to the season, whatever happens. If you want my pre-second phase of the season predictions, Verstappen, drivers champion, McLaren, constructors. There you go. Gone out to live. Unless Perez improves, then it might get a bit more interesting. But it's a bit windy out there. The clouds are rolling in. We are right by the sea, the North Sea, so it's probably going to be damp at some point today. Here goes Piastri then into that first corner through Tarzan. I'll try and use the name as best I can. I'm not going to get them all right, so there we go. Through to turn 3. I'm not going to pronounce that. Okay, I'm just going to do corner numbers. You can all tell me the names. It's fine, but I'm going to do numbers today. So that's just gone past where Sargeant crashed this morning. 10 minutes to go. So 24.6 on the used tyres for... for Leclerc, 24.2 for Oscar Piastri. So over 4 tenths quicker there for Piastri on that first sector alone. So this is going to be fastest, but we'll see. CPB says I think Red Bull will just cling on to the constructors. We'll see. It's going to be... That could go down to the wire. It'd be nice to have some sort of finale, wouldn't it, for Abu Dhabi? It'd be cool. Not had one for a couple of years now. Piastri, 9.5 tenths. So nearly a second up on these fresh tyres versus Ferrari on the used, Leclerc on the used. Coming through the final corner now. Verstappen's going to be quick as well, I'd imagine. 24.6 was the first sector time to beat. I think he's marginally quicker than Piastri. I've lost his time. 24.1, 24.2. Yeah, so Verstappen ever so slightly quicker in the first sector than Piastri, but it's that middle sector where they are losing. Red Bull are. Norris has gone purple now, though, so he's ever so slightly quicker as well. So this is close. Hulkenberg goes second on a 1:11.611. That was on used tyres for Hulkenberg. So obviously fancies going for a second run on some fresh tyres. Yeah, 2 tenths down. You see, just over 2 tenths down the middle sector. So that's where everything has been lost here for Red Bull, or the worst of it. Let's see what they do in the final sector. Norris, not purple, but just up on Piastri's time, 300ths of a second. What could Verstappen do in the final sector? Piastri today, 21.2. Verstappen crosses the line, goes second on a 21.3. So he's lost 3 tenths in the middle sector. That's huge. That's a lot to lose. Yeah, Norris goes fastest, 9 thousandths quicker than Piastri, 1:10.496. Perez is out there. He's on fresh tyres as well, according to the timing screen. So, yeah, Albon on used, by the way. So it's Albon and Hulkenberg, I believe, on used tyres. And Gasly as well. Tsunoda is on used tyres. They are, yeah, everybody else on new, yeah. Perez crosses the line. He goes 5th fastest at 1:11.1, just behind Lance Stroll, who's up in 4th place again at 1:11.0. So Aston, in the early phase of these sessions, seem to have the pace, but it falls away as the others pick up their pace a little bit later on. So Alonso goes 6th at 1:11.1. Magnussen is 7th, by the way. Missed that one, 1:11.2. Gasly 1:11.4 in 8th. And Leclerc and Sainz now dropping down the order as you'd expect on those used tyres. They'll be out shortly. And in fact, they're on track now on some fresh, soft tyres. Great stuff. What is... Russell 1:10.5. Purple final sector, 6 or half a tenth between the top 3 at the moment. What can Hamilton do? He goes 5th fastest on a 1:10.999. So half a second separates his top 5. That's a bigger gap than expected. Hamilton on new tyres as well, so that's not anything to do with tyres. Verstappen on new too, but less, about half a tenth, just over half a tenth between Norris, Piastri and Russell in the top 3. What's Leclerc going to do on these fresh tyres? Better, 6th place, a 1:11.060. Sainz, that's not a good lap. It's better. It is better, but Sainz on 11.2. Is that his latest lap, Carlos Sainz? It is, yeah, because he was in the bottom 5. So not great from Carlos. So Ferrari do not have the pace, do they? They just do not have the pace. I wish this was in the Olympics. Says CLS 1803. There's been talk, actually, in the last year or so that motorsport with F1 might be in the Olympics. Thank you to Hugh6 for your sub, and to I'm going to call you Vilpab. You know who you are. I'm not going to try and butcher the rest of it. Thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. Really appreciate your support. We are over 100 likes. Sorry, we've got over 1,000 of you here. Please do leave a like as we hit that little lull as everyone comes in now for fresh tyres. Please do drop a like. Please do subscribe. If you fancy joining a super chat, you can do. But don't worry, this is we just enjoyed chilling on a Saturday afternoon. No worries there. The main stream is tomorrow. Just actually, here's a question for chat. When was skateboarding brought into the Olympics? Was that this year? I'd never seen it before, and I just couldn't stop watching it. That's all the Olympics I watched this year was the skateboarding for reasons. I just thought it was interesting. There we go. Clouds are in the sky. So Norris is fastest, 1:10.40. 4:96, sorry. Second place, Piastri, 9,000ths of a second just behind. Yeah. It is 9,000. Yeah, I read it completely wrong. George Russell third, half a tenth-ish off Norris as well. Verstappen 3/10 back in fourth place. Hamilton 5/10 off the fastest time in fifth. Leclerc is sixth, just over half a second off Stroll, give or take. 6/10 off the fastest time. Perez the same. Alonso in ninth place, 6.5 off. And Carlos Sainz at 1:11.2 in 10th place. Magnussen only a tenth outside of a time that needs to get into Q3. He's currently out. Pierre Gasly getting on for 3/10 off a time he needs to get into Q3. Tsunoda 3/10 off as well. Hulkenberg 4/10. Alex Albon 6/10 off. But Albon, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, and Gasly, those bottom four, have all set their times on the used tyres. We're yet to see them do a hot lap on some fresh tyres in this session. So what I will say is Albon's quick. John says the skateboarding was 2020 officially, 2021 literally. Oh, of course, yeah, because we had they were postponed, weren't they, until 2021. So we had that weird thing. We had Euro 20 in 2021 and the 2020 Olympics in 2021. Sorry if you hear my microphone banging, by the way. I'm just trying to redo the arm. There we go. So it's actually in front of my face. Might help. Breakdancing is out for the next one, apparently. Yes, if you're just tuning in, we are talking about the Olympics. We're just waiting for cars to get out on track. Don't worry, you've not tuned into the wrong channel. I mean, you may have done, but if you were looking for Sims 4 builds, then yes, you definitely did. Thank you to Brian for subscribing as well. Really appreciate the support there. They don't watch Sims 4 builds anymore. Is that still a thing? I don't know. Anyway, let's get back to the F1. So yeah, Carlos Sainz on the bubble at the moment at 1:11.2. Magnussen, Gasly, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, Albon all out as it stands. We're coming to the 3-minute mark. But we've still got to see those soft tyre runs, the new soft tyre runs for the bottom four. Gasly, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, and Albon. So that could be interesting. I reckon Albon's got some pace here. Go on then, chat. Just under 3 minutes to go. Your bold prediction. Who out of that bottom five are definitely getting through? I put Hulkenberg in my bold predictions ahead of the weekend for a Q3 appearance. So I could stick with him. I think Albon's got a shot here, surely. He's got a chance. We'll see. We're moments away from finding out the answer. Norris still in the pits. Probably doesn't see the point in queuing at the end of the pit lane. Also, I think, to be fair, I'm not convinced the track's going to ramp up enough to put the McLarens under pressure. So maybe they might just stay in the garage. I'd be surprised. People tend to just get out there now, don't they? Or you don't want to get caught out. We've seen it too many times in the past. Getting caught out by track conditions, but particularly over this weekend. Again, the track has been quite green, a lot of rain. It's going to improve, but we've got an Alpine, that's Pierre Gasly, obviously, ramping up to start his lap. He may encounter some traffic. He's got Leclerc on pit exit, Magnussen and Hamilton just ahead of him there. He might be okay, but here he goes. Lee says bold, Perez Q3. CPB says none of them. Sainz and Stroll will fail to get through, says, I'm going to give you FUD. You know who you are. We do this every week. I'll go with Albon for sure. Albon, Hulkenberg, the Gaz man. Yeah. Because Gasly's 2.5 up in the first sector on Carlos Sainz, and that's the time he needs to get through into Q3. So that's what we're watching here for Gasly. Still nothing from Norris, Piastri, Russell, and Verstappen. So do they think they're safe there then? Hamilton doesn't think he's safe and has come out on track on a fresh set of soft tyres, which is interesting. So the others obviously don't feel under pressure there. That's a surprise. Gasly half a second up on Carlos Sainz in that middle sector. So this is going to be a good lap from Pierre Gasly. He has got quite a lot of time to find, in all fairness. 3 or 4 tenths here. He could be quicker when he hops over the line. Let's see what he does. 1:11.2 for Sainz. Is that a 10? A 1:10.8 for Gasly goes 5th. That's a good lap from Pierre Gasly. Obviously, the track is going to keep improving, but that is a very good lap from Pierre. Good stuff. Carlos Sainz drops into the bottom 5. We've got 30 seconds to go. Tsunoda moves into 6th on a 110.9. So Hamilton clearly was right to go there because he's now down to 7th place. Perez over the line. He goes up to 4th place and displaces Verstappen, actually. 110.678. Stroll is currently fastest in the first sector. This is getting interesting. Leclerc, Stroll, Alonso, Sainz plummeting towards that bottom 5. Albon jumps into 5th place, a 110.7. Hamilton drops to 9th, Leclerc to 10th, Verstappen down to 6th. This is going to be quite close. So we've got the checker flag now. This is it. These laps have got to count for these drivers. Norris, Piastri, Russell, Verstappen also in the pit lane. Alonso, a 110.8, goes 8th place. Hamilton drops to, on the bubble. Sainz only 9th on a 110.914. Purple final sector. Lance Stroll is flying at the moment. What can he do? Can he complete this lap with that kind of pace? Here goes Lance Stroll, who goes 4th on a 110.6. Cracking lap from Lance Stroll. Hamilton isn't improving massively, but in fact, Hamilton's out. Lewis Hamilton is out in Q2. Charles Leclerc over the line. He goes into 6th place. He is joined by Carlos Sainz. We have lost... Wow, we have lost Carlos Sainz, Lewis Hamilton, Yuki Tsunoda, Nico Hulkenberg, and Kevin Magnussen. Wow. Mercedes, one of the favourites for pole. Hamilton was looking... People picking him for pole earlier. When I was watching on social media, he's people's favourite for it. Or one of. Mercedes in the mix, but he's down in 12th place and out, a 10th of a second away from Alonso in 10th place, which does to get through. And of course, Sainz, who's just, to be frank, hasn't looked like he's had the pace all day so far. Carlos Sainz down in 11th place. Maybe not making excuses for Ferrari drivers, but maybe losing that track time yesterday in the dry with his gearbox issue, maybe part of that, but that is still out he goes. He's saying Hulkenberg wasn't very generous, so maybe he's saying impeding there. We'll see what happens, but still, 11th place. Carlos Sainz is out. Lewis Hamilton out. Yuki Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, and Magnussen all out. Standout performances in that session. Lance Stroll in 4th. Alex Albon in 7th. And you could probably throw Gasly in there for 9th, actually. 3.5 tenths separating the top 10. That is super close. By F1 standards, there's people watching who watch other motorsport series going, really? That's close. By F1 standards, that's pretty bloody close. So Norris was fastest from Piastri, 9 thousandths between them. Russell half a tenth back in 3rd place. Lance Stroll 4th, only a tenth and a half just over off of the fastest time. Sergio Perez in 5th there. Charles Leclerc 6th. Alex Albon 7th. Getting on for 3 tenths off. Verstappen again 3 tenths off in 8th place. Gasly in 9th, 3 tenths off, and then Alonso 3.5 tenths off in 10th place. Important, I guess, to note, really, the top 3 didn't go again. Verstappen didn't go again either, so maybe there's more pace there for Max. But yeah, the big headline there, I think it is Lewis Hamilton. I was going to say Carlos Sainz as well, but Sainz hasn't had the pace really. So Lewis Hamilton out in Q2. That is a surprise. That is a shock. That is a shock. A lot of people thought he was in with a shot of a pole position today, or at least Mercedes were. And if you know, with all due respect, if you're putting Mercedes in the frame for pole and having the pace for pole, you've got to put Lewis Hamilton in there as well, especially in these sorts of crazy conditions. But it's not worked for him today at all. Game over. Please do get your votes in on the poll, by the way. Don't forget to drop a like. We're 50 away from 200. 1,100 of you here. 1,100. Get your likes in, and maybe I'll say 100 correctly in future. You never know. So please do drop a like. Please do sub as well. I'll do some shout-outs in a moment for subscribers who have come in today. Which team will take pole position? McLaren currently the favourites. Mercedes 2nd. Red Bull 3rd. And other 9th. I'm going to end that poll at the start of Q3. So we'll see. You're currently putting McLaren as the favourites. Looking at that session, McLaren the favourites, definitely. So we'll see what happens in 10, 15 minutes time. But yeah, if you are just tuning in, that's the big headline. Lewis Hamilton out in Q2. We'd already lost Ricciardo, Ocon, Bottas, Joe, and Sargeant. We've now lost Sainz, Hamilton, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, and Magnussen. One for chat, I suppose. I'll throw it at chat. Do you think maybe that time that Carlos Sainz lost yesterday with the gearbox problem is an issue? Because it was the only real dry running, wasn't it, prior to this session? And again, I'm not doing it to make excuses for Ferrari drivers, but I'm just wondering, I'm just wondering if, maybe that's something. I try to say it in a way that isn't me going, yeah, but he didn't get a lot of track time yesterday, and sounding like a proper fanboy and like I'm making excuses. But it's got to be a factor, surely. It's got to. Wow. Yeah, just a thought. Just a Stroll. Yeah, Stroll has been on pole before. Stroll was on pole Turkey 2020, I believe. He also front row in Monza 20. I want to say 17, but it might have been 18. Was it 21 for his pole position? Max, I think I've said this to you before in chat and on the channel before. 2020 and 2021, because we had all those races from July to December and then straight back into the new season from early March, those 2 years for me just kind of fall into a massive clump of 1 year. I'm sure in every way of life I'm not the only person who thinks that about 2020 and 2021, but those are just 1 year for me. It's 2021 and then 2020 and then 2021 was a DLC. You know, that's how it felt. It didn't feel like its own year. So I don't know. It was 2020. He has been on pole, and it was definitely Turkey. So there we go. 2020 Turkey, says Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, that 2 years, let's say. The 2020s in general, yeah. I like that, Max. In general, just kind of clumped together. It does feel like it, doesn't it? I don't know. Yes, we've had the checkered flags. So Q2 is done. So if you are just tuning in, I'll do shout outs. Hang on, we'll do shout outs first. That's only fair. Thank you to Game Bros for subscribing, to Bill as well, to a terrible name, so sorry, to Atish, to Dylan, to Frankie, to Aesthetic as well. Appreciate your subs. Really appreciate you joining the team, the Madhouse, the little family we've got, the crazy little family. Excuse chat, some are quite weird. But that's just Max. It's fine. I think Max is a Chelsea fan. I seem to recall, Max. You can correct me, but if you are, then you're definitely weird. We love you, really. God pointed to Lance and said, "Here you go, little boy." Yeah, big rain. It was big rain, wasn't it? Yeah. Go on then, chap. Who's your pole sitter? So you've put McLaren as the favourites on 40%, followed by Mercedes on 26%, Red Bull 24%, and other 9%. So who is your driver? Who do you think is going to get pole? I mean, Norris is fastest at the moment. I said Piastri on Thursday. I think it will be a McLaren. So I'm going to go for Russell. No, I'll stick with Piastri because he's in the mix. He's only 9,000 off his teammate in that one. So, and I feel like Piastri, pole, and Perez win are the only two things we're missing this season from sort of the top 4 teams. I think that's right as well, isn't it? Because otherwise everybody's won and everyone's had a pole. I think no, Hamilton hasn't had a pole, has he? So we need a Hamilton pole as well. That's not happening today, for sure. With all due respect, that ain't happening today. I'll have a look at that in a bit, John T. Thank you for sending that over on the old WhatsApp. Do you know, totally random, and I know I say do you know a lot, I don't care. It's just the way I talk. Totally random point. I horrified Stuart the other day. And I might horrify some of you. He couldn't believe I didn't start using WhatsApp until this June 2024. He's like, what, have you been text messaging like a granddad all these years? I'm like, yes. I just never bothered with it because I had text. So I have free text while I worry about WhatsApp. But no, yeah, it's first time I've ever used it. So I know. And do you know what? Even John will say it. I would never look back. I'd never look back. 2024, we are green, by the way. We are go. For Q3, cars come out on track. I'm just going to very quickly check my stats there. I don't think Hamilton's had a pole, has he? Where are you? Season summary. There we go. So pole sitters this year: Verstappen, all of them at the start. Leclerc, Russell. So we are missing Sainz, Piastri, and Hamilton for pole, and we're missing a Perez win. We're missing Perez for pole as well. So actually more from the top 5 teams than I thought there. So quite a few. But yeah, it'd be good to see. Be good to see some of them do well, I think. A pole for Piastri today, a win for Perez tomorrow. There you go. Yeah, that's my hope. Just some drama, some excitement. I've got messages all over my phone all of a sudden. I don't know why. I am watching, but I'm just trying to see what's going on. So in case I missed something important from the stewards or something. Anyway, let's I'll have a look at this later. Just I wanted to make sure I haven't missed anything from the FIA. So we're coming through this. So who have we got on track? So we've got Piastri's going to be first to do a lap, followed by Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc, Gasly, Russell. Leclerc is on used, as is Gasly. They did some extra runs earlier on, so that's why. That was my take, movie man. Sorry, just on WhatsApp again. What's the point? Exactly, that was my take, but actually, I prefer it to texting. Plus, I can mute it when I'm added to family groups and they don't bother me. It's lovely. It's so nice. Sorry, family. Piastri. Purple, obviously, the first sector because he's the first one to do a lap. I think unless is Russell just come out on track? I think he has, yeah. So Russell hasn't done a lap yet, so that's fine. Didn't know if I got that mixed up there. But Piastri will be first one here. Gasly again, used tyres. Leclerc, used tyres. I fancy Piastri today. For the win. For pole. That's a win, isn't it, I suppose. But chat, pretty much a mixed bag, I think. Norris, Piastri, Max, flip a coin. Yeah, absolutely. Agree with that one. McLaren, Max, George. Yeah. No great surprises in there. But whoever. Oh, big moment for Verstappen coming out the on the exit of the penultimate corner there. 13. Big moment. So Norris fastest at the moment in the first sector. Verstappen's the purple final sector despite his moment. What I thought was a moment. It was in the picture-in-picture, so I couldn't quite see it. But he's only, So 1:10.074 for Norris. Piastri a tenth and a bit behind in second. Verstappen a tenth and a half in third. So it is pretty close. What can Leclerc do? He's fourth on a 1:10.7. That's on used tyres. So that's not an awful lap from Charles Leclerc actually at all on those used tyres. Nearly 7 tenths off. So not bad at all there for him. So yeah. I'm just trying to work. They're talking about big deltas between them, but I don't think that's a bad lap at all from Leclerc. Sorry, commentary about big deltas there, but 1.3 seconds Gasly off the fastest time, but that's not a huge surprise. No offense to Pierre. What's Russell going to do? He is on new. Over the line, a 1:10.074 to beat a 1:10.510. So not an epic lap there from Russell. Was he on used tyres? No, new tyres for George. Interesting. Random personal thing. My mum's just messaged me. It's her birthday today. Her flowers have arrived. If you are listening, Mum, on the off chance, happy birthday. Love you loads. Hope you just got home from work. Hope you have a good afternoon. Enjoy. Probably isn't listening because she's not really a big F1 fan, but you never know. I'll say it anyway. You know, be the good son that I am. The legend as a son that I am. The best son she's got. I'm not the only one, by the way. There are two of us. That's not just one of those throwaway phrases. Best child she's got, full stop, let's face it. Here's Verstappen's moment coming out it is the penultimate corner, so he gets a bit of up on the curb. Swapper nearly touched the gravel. Nearly lost it, but all good. Double check the floor when I come in, just through turn 13. I went a little bit wide, but he's all good. Over the line he goes. Was a good lap, actually. When you think about that mistake as well, a tenth and a half. I'm not saying that would cost him a tenth and a half, but it might have cost him some of that one. So there you go. I'm going to say there you go a lot today. I want to get, as they're all in the pits now, putting the fresh tyres on, Russell, Stroll being shortly, if not Stroll starting an outlap. I want to get one of the miniature replicas of Verstappen's current crash helmet, the orange one. I really like that. Looks quite cool. One of my favourite colours as well, orange. So there you go. Little bit more insight. Why not? Telling you how I'm going to spend my money. Going to spend it all on F1 merch and replica helmets, and then complain the bills aren't paid. Anyway, I'm trying to fill a minute here while they're all putting tyres on. Stroll and Alonso are out on track, thank goodness. Alonso just coming out the pit lane now. Stroll is coming through turn 9, getting ready to start a lap. Just had a thought from 2019 Monza as we were recalling, and I remember the race reaction stream. How is Dan from Racing Reviews? Is he well? Not heard from him in a while, says Max. Dan, I've not spoken to Dan for a long time. Last time I spoke to him, it's essentially he's got a life now. which is horrendous. I'm appalled by it. I miss him to bits. I just do. But he's... From what I've seen on Instagram, he's basically just travelling the world and having the time of his life. So I can't begrudge him that, bless him. Lovely guy is Dan. Hope he's well. If he's on the off chance he might be listening, if he's not on holiday again. Hope he's having a good one. But yeah, we miss Dan. We do. Not that there's a problem with others, but you know, yeah. Lance Stroll is starting his lap. Then here we go. Back to the F1 in the banking at turn 3. Another twitch there. 2 twitches. One in Tarzan and one in Hugenholtz. The only Dutch I know outside of corner names is some of the lyrics to Europapa from Eurovision. That's it. Yeah, it's not going to be a great lap this for Lance. He's made a couple of mistakes there. 24.2 in the first sector. You know, fastest, for example, Norris, 23.9, 24.1 for Piastri. So he's in and around where he needs to be in the first sector, but it's a fairly short first sector actually here. So all of this is in this middle sector, and he's 3/10 down again. So it's not a horrific lap from Lance, but he has made a couple of little, I don't want to say mistakes, but a bit of a twitchy car. They are new tyres, so he's going in the gap, as we like to say in F2 in particular. Seems to be one of the favoured strategies there for some people. Through the banking at the final corner, always looks great. I do enjoy this track. Over the line he goes, 0.8 down basically, 0.783. He is 6th place on a 1:10.857. Be very surprised if the Astons aren't behind the 2 McLarens, the remaining Red Bulls and Mercedes and Ferraris and all of that. But maybe we'll get a Gasly in there, might surprise us. What's Alonso going to do? He's better than Stroll here. 5 thousandths quicker than Stroll in the middle sector. 25.128, plays 25.123. So it's very tight, but he was slightly slower in the first sector. So at the moment, Stroll might be on to out-qualify Alonso. It's all down to this final sector. What can Fernando do as we approach 3 minutes? 1:10.074 from Norris. 1:10.857 from Stroll. It's a 1:10.633 from Alonso. So Stroll didn't get anywhere near beating his teammate there. A really good final sector there from Fernando. 21.4 versus 21.1. So 0.3 quicker. Good stuff there. No problem, K. I enjoy these. They're nice to do. I know it's not track footage. And I'm sure you all understand why, but we do our best, and I enjoy sitting and chatting to you all. Yeah. I'm with Movie Man, by the way, in chat. We're not going to do Eurovision chat today. One day there'll be a Eurovision stream, maybe on Twitch or something somewhere, or on another YouTube channel. But one day we'll do a Eurovision stream. We'll talk about it. But I'm with Movie Man on this one. I understand why the judges went the way they did on vocals and performance and things, but I much preferred what Movie Man said. I cannot do more than this, says Fernando Alonso. And to be fair, so it's not a bad lap. I would imagine Leclerc or Pippin, you would hope that Perez, for his sake, can do it. But I don't think that's terrible from Fernando Alonso at all. If you'd have told me this morning he'd be, half a second off the fastest time, halfway through Q3, I'd have gone, yeah, sounds about right. It's kind of where Aston are at the moment. So he won't be happy. He wants to be winning races. Of course he does. I'm not daft, but yeah, I don't think that's terrible. So he seems a bit deflated at the moment, does Fernando, which I can understand given the highs of last year versus the lows of this year. But here we go. Max Verstappen through turn 3. That would look great with the gyro on there. Coming up towards, I always get these corners wrong. They come thick and fast. Through into turn 7 now for Verstappen. Down the hill into 8. Flick it right. Very nice. Good first sector. Norris fastest in the first sector, by the way. Again, he's purple. These are the pole laps, and these are the final runs in qualifying. This is, at the moment, Norris on pole and improving. Piastri will start his lap in just a few minutes. He's letting Gasly go at the moment. Is Gasly on a hot lap? He is indeed, I think. Yes, he is. He must be. What could Pierre Gasly? He'll be first over the line then. He can go again, Gasly. He stays 8th place on a 1:10.977. He could go again, but he's not going to be able to charge his batteries up. But purple in the middle sector from Max Verstappen. So where has that come from? For Verstappen, over the line he goes to provisional pole position on a 1:10.029. Max Verstappen finding speed in the middle sector. It doesn't matter, though, because Lando Norris has just gone fastest by 3.5 tenths of a second. 109.673. What a lap from Lando Norris. Piastri is quick. He is improving on his own time, but he's a long way off his teammate here. A couple of tenths in the first sector. That's a mega lap from Lando Norris. Wow. I thought Verstappen had stolen something there just because of the way he got his middle sector right. Albon goes 7th on a 110.653. Leclerc comes across the line. He's just been pipped by Albon. What can Leclerc do? Leclerc goes to a 110.582 into 6th place. It's a poor middle sector for Piastri. I think Lando Norris is on pole position. It looks like we've got Lando Norris on pole here. 190.96, and nobody's really getting close. Russell's improving. Poor in the middle sector again, though. It's all in that middle sector. 110.172 for Piastri. Only P3. So Verstappen has prevented a McLaren front row lockout, and he is half a second off his teammate in the end. Perez, by the way, hopped into 4th place, 7.5 tenths off the fastest time, and George Russell over the line. He goes into 4th place on a 110.244. That super close qualifying we were talking about did not happen. Lando Norris on pole position by 3.5 tenths of a second from Max Verstappen, half a second quicker than Oscar Piastri, nearly 6 tenths quicker than Russell, 7.5 quicker than Perez, 9 tenths quicker than Leclerc, a second quicker than Alonso and Albon. Wow. That was a hell of a lap. A hell of a lap there from Lando Norris. Where did he get the time? So 23.8 in the first sector was 2 tenths quicker than Verstappen and Piastri and Russell and Perez. Middle sector, he was slower than Verstappen by getting on for a tenth of a second. Piastri 24.8, 24.9. So Piastri and Russell were down just in that middle sector. It's the final sector, 21 flat for Norris, 21.1 for Verstappen, 21.1 for Piastri, 21.1 for Russell. So he's quicker by 2 tenths and a tenth. But that doesn't count for all. Well, no, 3.5 tenths. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, that's right. So it was the first sector and the final sector. 2 tenths quicker in the first, a tenth quicker in the final. So that's where the time came from. That's a hell of a lap from Lando Norris. But that is, yeah, you're right, Jonty. Turn 1 tomorrow is going to be a lot of fun. I'm not going to sit here in my spare bedroom that I call my office talking to a microphone on a Saturday afternoon, having not done a lap like that, and pretend I dare to give Lando Norris advice. But my advice for Lando Norris tomorrow is get your start right. Because that kind of pace could be interesting. Race pace, by the way, yesterday, Max Verstappen looked okay. Better than his qualifying pace from the analysis I was reading earlier. So that's going to be a good battle tomorrow. But I think McLaren will be disappointed not to have the front row locked out. And I think Red Bull probably will be relatively happy with P2 there for Max Verstappen and finding some pace in that middle sector. So there you go. Maybe tomorrow's going to be exciting. Maybe. Every F1 race is exciting, I swear, especially Monaco. I'll do the summary for the session as well in just a moment. But just to confirm, Lando Norris on pole position, Max Verstappen in 2nd place, Oscar Piastri 3rd, George Russell 4th, Sergio Perez 5th, Charles Leclerc 6th, Fernando Alonso 7th, Alex Albon 8th, Lance Stroll 9th, and Pierre Gasly in 10th place. 11th is Carlos Sainz. He was knocked out in Q2. Hamilton knocked out in Q2 as well, has an investigation hanging over him as well in 12th. Impeding is usually 3 places, isn't it? So if he does get a penalty, that'll drop him down a few places, probably 3. Tsunoda 13th, Hulkenberg 14th, Magnussen 15th. Then it's Ricciardo 16th, Ocon 17th, Bottas 18th, Zhou 19th, and Logan Sargeant in 20th place. And last, having not taken part in this session due to his crash this morning in FP3. He's okay, his car is not. That's a lap, isn't it? From Lando Norris. What do we think, chat? Usually, I will say this very, very quickly. Usually at this stage, quite a few start to disappear. They've had the action from the qualifying. They want to go and get on with their Saturday. Completely understand. Appreciate you being with us. Thank you very much for your company. Hopefully see you next week on the Italian Grand Prix qualifying Watchalong. But please do leave a like before you go. We're nearly at 200, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new as well. We're live tomorrow for the race reaction. I've got Will with me about 5 p.m. UK time, BST, to chat about everything that happened in the race. But I will stick around for another 20 minutes, half an hour, to chat about what we've just watched and look ahead to tomorrow and answer some questions as well. But if you are going, thank you very much for your company. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully see you very, very soon. Have a good day. But yes, we will continue. I'm going to have a drink, and then I'll run through the order once again properly with times and all that business. I just need a quick drink. Is F1 Academy on today? Is F1 Academy this weekend? That explains the F1 Academy picks on XPB. Yeah, well done, Sean. Genius. Nothing new there then. The pause for the timestamp, the inevitable pause for the timestamp. So Lando Norris is on pole position for the Dutch Grand Prix, 109.673, a super lap at the end. Fastest in the first and final sectors by enough to give him 3.5 tenths over Max Verstappen in second place. Bit of a surprise that, with his middle sector time in particular, was fastest of the day. Oscar Piastri only third and half a second off his teammate, but I think that highlights more how good Lando Norris's laps seem to be rather than anything. I'm sure maybe replays later might show us as an issue, but he is third place. George Russell in fourth, getting on for 6 tenths off the fastest time by Norris, 110.244. Perez a little bit further back, a couple of tenths back in 5th place on a 110.416, with Charles Leclerc, the highest Ferrari, in 6th place on a 110.582, 9 tenths slower than Lando Norris. Fernando Alonso in 7th place, a 110.633, 9.5 tenths off the pace overall. Alex Albon, really good session from him, getting on for a second off the pace, but a 110.653, and just ahead of Lance Stroll on a 110.857. Actually, I will say Stroll a little bit lower than I thought it was going to be based on earlier in the session, but there you go. Pierre Gasly made the top 10 on a 110.977, so good from him. He's been pretty pacey this weekend. Podium, of course, last year. Carlos Sainz was knocked out in Q2. He did a 110.914, wasn't far off at all in the end. Lewis Hamilton also, the big surprise really, getting knocked out in Q2 on a 110.948. He's under investigation for impeding or potentially impeding Sergio Perez. The stewards will look at that after the session, so they'll be doing that in the next few minutes and hours, and we'll see if anything happens there. If he does get a penalty, it's usually around about a 3-place grid drop for impeding, so that'll drop him down to about 15th place, so we'll see what they decide there. Yuki Tsunoda in 13th, Nico Hulkenberg 14th, 110.9 and a 111.2 respectively. Kevin Magnussen, a 111.295 in 15th place. They were all knocked out in Q2, and then knocked out in Q3 and starting 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th. Daniel Ricciardo on a 111.943, Esteban Ocon on a 111.995, Valtteri Bottas a 112.168, Zhou a 113.261. That is well off the pace, sorry. Just picked up on that. And Logan Sargeant didn't set a time because he had a massive crash in FP3. Car was pretty much destroyed. Chassis okay, according to Williams, but didn't get it repaired in time. And that is game over for Sargeant. He'll start 20th and last, unless he needs to take penalties, of course, for chassis, gearbox, anything else he might need to change after that shunt. So we'll see what happens. But 20th for Sargeant in the end. I just picked up on Zhou there, 113.261. That's 1.1 seconds quicker than Bottas. So chat, if you're paying attention to Zhou Guan Yu, do you know of a reason for that? I don't think I recall seeing Zhou. So whether he got some traffic or made a mistake or something, because that's quite a gap to his teammate of 1.1 seconds. That's a big gap. So not sure what happened there. But yeah, the headlines really, Lando Norris, mega final lap for a 109.673. And I would say Lewis Hamilton getting knocked out of Q2. Or knocked out in Q2, I will say, really. Not sure why Leclerc's been greyed out. Unless he stopped on track somewhere or pitted at the wrong point or stopped at the wrong point. Looking at the cars in the pit lane on the graphic, actually, to be fair, he looks like he stopped a bit further up than maybe he ought to do, but I'm not sure. But he's not in trouble. He's not in trouble, don't worry. Yes, it's over. It is all done. Pole for Norris. Verstappen second, Piastri third. Just watching them get their photo now. Let's talk about session then. Anything you want to talk about for tomorrow, let me know in chat. I'll answer your questions as well. We'll start with Kevin's question. Is it you every week, Kevin, asks this? Kevin's weekly question, Zandvoort circuit weather. So tomorrow, I probably ought to put circuit Zandvoort in, hadn't I, really, rather than anything else. If I can get my PC to actually do what I want it to do, that'd be incredible. I think overall it's supposed to be dry. So let's have a look. So we didn't get any rain in qualifying today, which was forecast. So tomorrow, yes, it's dry. So race starts at 3 p.m. local time, 2 p.m. BST, there is a less than 1% chance of rain, according to this forecast here. So no rain expected. I will check with the Met Office, but my experience of the Met Office is that it's pretty bloody terrible. They're saying around about a 5% chance of rain, but that falls away as time goes on. So no chance of rain. Around 18 to 20 degrees in terms of temperature. Both forecasts saying 18 or 19. So it's going to be warm or warmer than it has been at times this weekend, and dry. But as we saw, rain can come in. They're right by the sea, aren't they? So that can change very easily. But it is expected to be dry. No. We'll see. A bit of rain will be nice. Sprinkling halfway through. When we hit that lull that we always have in F1, the bit where they're all looking after tyres, that's just a little sprinkling. They'll be fine there. Just spice things up a bit. I'll be quite happy with that one. Points for Albon tomorrow. Question from C64. I think I put him down for a point in my bold predictions. So I would say, yeah. 8th place. The car looks like it's got some good pace in it. Why not? I reckon he's got a shot. So there you go. Points for Albon. Plural might be pushing it, but certainly top 10. Chances for Haas points, says Marcel, or asks Marcel. 14th, 15th. Just on Haas quickly. It just occurred to me, actually. Look at the timings there. Interesting that Hulkenberg had all those braking problems this weekend and he's still out-qualified Magnussen. So obviously what I'm saying is they've got on top of what was going on. Haas will have a chance. The problem look, Sainz and Hamilton you expect to come through, wouldn't you, from 11th and 12th. So put them in the top 10, no drama. That takes up the top 8 positions with what I've already got there. You've then got the 2 Astons. If they finish, you'd expect them to take the other 2. So it is going to be tough for Albon, for Hulkenberg, for Magnussen, for example, to get those points. They're going to need something to happen, I think. But I'd be very surprised if we don't have some retirements at some stage from the front in Zandvoort. It's one of those circuits. So they've got a chance, but I think they might need to play clever on strategy or maybe hope for some drama. 14th and 15th is going to be tough, but it's not easy to overtake here, but we've seen it done. So, but that's what we're going to need to do. They might need some luck, though. That's my feeling on those two. Who is getting the last stake kick Sauber, Audi, BMW, Petronas gambling F1 team Audi seat? Says Big Man Pat. I'll go Bottas. I think Bottas was my pick earlier. See you, Clansome. Thank you for popping along, mate. Good to see you. Is Red Bull in a fast pace this weekend? Race pace for Verstappen yesterday looked okay. They looked in the mix, so I don't think they're too concerned now. It was a qualifying pace where over one lap, I think Verstappen was saying that they sort of weren't quick enough. But they found some speed today to get second place, and it was that middle sector, fastest of the day, from Verstappen, a sector that he lost a lot of time in over the rest of the weekend and where they were really struggling. So it's actually a really good performance there in that middle sector from Verstappen. So I think they've got a chance of a good result tomorrow. But I think Verstappen's at that point. Alain Prost was great at this. A lot of drivers have been, but he's at that point now of the season, 10 to go. He's got a lead. He just needs to bring home the points. If he's a place behind Lando Norris for the rest of this season, he's fine. He's got the time. He doesn't need to try no heroics into turn 1. Into Tarzan is what we need to be thinking of there. But he's got a shot tomorrow. But I think McLaren on race pace, they look good. They look good just everywhere at the moment, don't they? So could come down to the start, see if Norris can get it right. But anyone know why Schumacher isn't in the mix for Lewis's seat for C64? I don't know, to be honest. I wouldn't have put him in the mix, but I'd love to see him get a shot, another chance, but he didn't cover himself in glory all the time, did he, in his time in F1? So I don't think if he's going to get a seat, it's going to be somewhere like maybe Sauber for Audi. I don't think he'll be in the mix for the top seats. I don't know why, though. They're not considering him, because he's on their books, isn't he, still? He was mentioned a while ago, a few times. I have no idea what that comment even means, so I'm not going to read that one. Our weather's been so crazy. I'm obsessed with the weather all summer. Yeah, well, it's been weird here, as well. In Lincoln, we're like 18 degrees today, but we're due to be about 28 degrees in a couple of days' time. So we're all going to get colds, but it's fine. Norris will lose at the start again, says Corn66. We shall see tomorrow. Bottas trash show again, 1 second quicker, really shows how bad the car is. Bottas should stay alongside Nico next season. Going to be a cracking race tomorrow, says Pascal. He's our resident Sauber fan, so there you go. Catherine says, I'm a McLaren fan. Awesome. Are you obviously very happy then to see Lando up there on pole position? Maybe they can win tomorrow. We'll see. He needs to be winning these races now, Lando, from pole. If he's starting on pole, he needs to be with that car winning them. So it's all down to the start tomorrow and hoping the team get it right on strategy. But like I say, Max Verstappen just needs to be picking up the points now and rounding out the season for that 4th world title. Still think he'll do it, but yeah. Perez in 5th, by the way. I don't know how to read that. Better. Much better than we've seen in recent races. But you throw Hamilton and Sainz back in the mix. You know, and he is 7.5 tenths off the fastest time. He's 4 tenths off his teammate. So he feels closer. 4 tenths off his teammate. That sounds mad, doesn't it? 4 tenths off his teammate. That feels closer than he has been at times this season. So maybe some good signs there for Checo. Maybe. You're all going to be sat there now in chat going, Sean, you really are clutching at straws there. Checo did good enough. Yes, that's a good point. Yeah, he did good enough. Verstappen isn't the hometown hero, says Kay. We'll see tomorrow. That's where the points are scored, of course. He might still win it. You know, good strategy. If Norris gets a bad start or even Verstappen gets an excellent start, a cheekily timed safety car, they can make all the difference in these situations on tracks like this. So you never know. There is no way Lando will bottle this one. There you go. See you soon, Kay. Have a good afternoon or evening or wherever you are in the world. Pastry on Max needs to be like a Stroll on Ricciardo tomorrow. Yeah, that could be important for strategy. Although strategy head on. Do you want to keep Piastri behind Verstappen if it's close? So you've got the chance to pull the undercut, force Red Bull's hand a little bit. Obviously, you prefer to have 2 cars first and second, but it wouldn't be the worst thing for McLaren strategy if he sat behind Verstappen and they can pull the trigger and force him into an early pit stop that might bring them back into play. I don't know. It depends how they want to play it tomorrow. It'll be interesting. See you soon, Max. Have a good one, mate. Thanks for your company as well. Good to see you. We'll be finishing off shortly, just rounding off and answering a few questions before we go. It's more about the watch-along and the roundup afterwards. But yeah, one more like, by the way. Drop a like and we hit 200. There you go. Thank you, whoever that was. Really appreciate that one. Any more shout-outs on subs? David Gray, thank you very much for subscribing. Appreciate the support and thanks for joining the weird little team we've got here. I've read that one. I reckon 4th in quality for Perez is enough for a 10-year contract extension. Fair enough. I'd have said 12 years. I think you've been really stingy there on 10. But no, I mean, 5th place, I don't think terrible for Perez. Keeps him in the game tomorrow, doesn't it? Keeps him in the fight. He needs to, you know, you talked about Piastri maybe needing to make that move on Verstappen at the start, but maybe Perez needs to get that move done on Russell at the start. Because if you've got Norris P1, Verstappen P2, Piastri P3, Perez P4, you've given Red Bull options on strategy as well. And actually, no disrespect to Russell, it'd be kind of nice to see that because then you have got that mixed up McLaren Red Bull top 4 and you've got the options there for strategy. We might see some clever play and some dummy stops and things like that and try to trigger undercuts. That would be quite fun tomorrow. So we'll see what happens, but I think I'm just looking forward to that. I think that's a good top 3 tomorrow into turn 1. We might see, probably not here, but similar to Hungary, we had all 3 of them side by side into turn 1. That was quite a dramatic moment on the outside. If Perez will start at the front, he'll easily fall down the grid, to be fair, says Joe Mercedes. Well, actually, Joe, if you remember, that's Belgium. That's exactly what happened, wasn't it? He started second and just kind of fell through the field as the race went on and was cut well adrift. I know he had a late pit stop and strategy wasn't great, but still a long way off where he should have been. So, yeah, it's very, very possible. Very, very possible. Any more questions? If not, we'll round it off for today. I've got a really exciting evening planned. Shopping's coming at 5 o'clock, and then I'm going to make some tea or some dinner, and I'm going to watch TV, maybe a film, maybe carry on watching The Boys. Been started watching The Boys. Haven't watched it? Well worth it. It's stupid. I love it. It's very exciting. I know. I might even have a beer, one whole beer. Watch Lando is wearing it is 400k bucks. Apparently, the watch he's wearing. That's a lot. Anyone watching the F1 Academy? Says Pascal. No, I might do actually. I might watch F1 Academy. It's F3 and F1 Academy. I don't tend to desperately watch. I do watch F2 fairly religiously, but F3 and F1 Academy, I could take them or leave them. Definitely F2, but it's not. When's F2 back? Is F2 next weekend? Must be Monza. If Alpine goes to Mercedes engines, is that proof that Renault finished in F1? It's not a good start, is it? I mean, there's some talk. I read an article earlier today. Those at the factory, the Renault factory, are saying that they want the team to rethink the plan to switch to Mercedes engines, because I think the word they used was betrayal. They would see that as a betrayal of the Renault project. So it's Ollie Oakes, his first weekend in charge, so we can't really judge him, but everything else at that team at the moment and throughout Renault, it seems like quite a rocky place to be, not a happy place to be. If they're talking about betrayal and things like that, then yeah, not fun. I'd like to see Renault stay as a full work, or Alpine stay as a full works team, but if they don't think they've got if they don't want to pump the money and the resources into building a power unit, or they don't think they can build a power unit that's going to be any good, then at the same time, I totally understand why they'd want to look at Mercedes engines. I tell you what, it shows a lack of commitment to F1. Exactly, Kevin. How can I say they're a manufacturer team if they don't build an engine? Yeah. Well, Renault are Renault. I've said it so many times. Honda are very similar. They'll go away for a bit and then they'll come back and they'll love F1. It'll be the best thing ever. Then they'll say it's boring or they don't like it or they can't do it and they'll go away and then they'll come back again a bit later, and it's just what they do. I do wonder why Andretti aren't. Kevin's making a point there as well. I don't know why Andretti are so lukewarm to the idea of buying an existing team, because Alpine, it feels like Alpine are just sat there waiting for someone to come and pick them up, and I'm not sure why. Whether it's because Andretti have got all set up in the US and they've got their European hub sorted out and all that, and it would mean moving things away from Enstone, and maybe that's part of the reason why. But it just feels like they're there for the taking. But no, not going to happen, is it? So we'll see. Thank you to Flend, I think that said. Flenderers, I'm terrible. I call everyone Bob. Thanks to Flenderers for your sub there. Really appreciate the support. So yeah, but if you've got no more questions, I'll tell you what we'll do then before we round off then. One final thing. Question for you. Remaining 330 of you here. Who's going to win tomorrow? Who you got your money on? I will go with... My pick on Thursday was Piastri. So officially it's Piastri. But because I think a lot of you are going to say Norris, I'm going to throw a potential curveball and just say Verstappen. It's not much of a curveball, but I'm going to say Verstappen. Bit of good strategy from Red Bull. Yeah, let's go with that. Maybe McLaren go 2-stop and he 1-stops or something like that. So I'm going to go Verstappen to make it interesting. But maybe Russell bounce back from losing that victory at Spa with a win at Zandvoort and then get disqualified again, knowing his luck. But there you go, maybe. But I'll go Verstappen tomorrow. Why not? C64 says the Ryan Reynolds F1 team. Yeah. That'd be good. Pascal says I'll go bold and say Russell. Kevin thinks that Lando and Piastri will tangle and Max will win. Lando, ooh, that's spicy, Kevin. Oh, imagine social media. That could be fun. Movie Man says Norris. C64 says Stoff. Thank you very much. Lee has gone with Max. So I'm not the only one going for Max Verstappen. That's all right then. I was wondering there. Random Guy says there is a high chance Lando, Piastri, Russell and Hamilton winning. Oh, Hamilton. I'm just pondering. From 12th, possibly 15th place if he gets a penalty. Not sure Hamilton, but Russell maybe. Definitely Russell could be in the mix. M. Harati says Oscar win number 2. There you go. Yeah, I didn't get pole today, which is a shame. I really wanted him on pole today, but it didn't quite work out. Also, it didn't quite work out. Half a second off is quite a hefty gap. But no, I'll stick with Verstappen then. Keep it interesting. lot of love for McLaren there. I can't see Hamilton winning. Random guy. And feel free to come back and pull me up on this tomorrow at this point of the stream and say, told you if he wins it. You can't rule Russell out because they've won, is it 3 of the last 4 Mercedes? Yeah, it will be. 3 or is it 4 of the last 4? No, can't be 4 of the last 4, Sean. Oh, this is why I keep that open. I always do this. I'm sure they've won 3 of the last 4, or 4 of the last 5, or something like that. Let me have a look. You're going to get there before I do, but I'm going to have a look anyway. So, they've won 3 of the last 4. So Verstappen hasn't won since Spain. Then Russell, Hamilton, Piastri, Hamilton. So I don't think you can rule Mercedes out completely when they're winning 3 of the last 4 races. But I fancy a Verstappen win tomorrow or a Piastri win. Oscar should watch some Rosberg Hamilton lowlights. Fair enough. Let's leave it there then for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. It's been a pleasure to spend the afternoon with you, or morning or evening, wherever you are in the world. To be fair, Russell's win was luck, not design, so C64, just to make that point there. Been a pleasure to spend some time with you. Thank you for your likes as well. 211 likes in the end, so we got over 200. That's fantastic. Thanks to everyone who's subscribed as well. That is appreciated. Now, go to the end screen. Is it going to work? There we go. I will be back on... tomorrow with the race reaction with Will around about 5 p.m. BST. And keep an eye on the channel next week as well for some news. Also, just to let those know, it's on screen now, patrons. Patreon itself will close from August the 31st. Reasons will be explained next week. But thank you to everyone on screen there for your support now and over the years. I mean, Stefan, Edgar in particular, there are others on there as well who have been here for many, many years. So thank you very much for your support. RC there too. Lots of you have been, Evan. Just trying to spot the ones that I always remember, Annette, Akia, lots of people on there. So thank you very much for your support over the last 7 years. Bonkers, isn't it? But yes, I will be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. BST with Will-ish, depending on safety cars and red flags if we get any. And of course, video next week with the news. And then, of course, we're going to have a live stream to discuss that because there might be some questions and concerns. But also, we've got the preview on Thursday for the Italian Grand Prix, the qualifying watch along next Saturday for Monza, and of course, then the Monza race reaction with Stuart. So lots coming up over the next couple of weeks. Don't forget to drop a like as well if you haven't already. Really appreciate that. You can follow me on socials at F1 Word or the F1 Word. You'll find me on Facebook, Instagram, and X or TwitX. We'll just go with X. There you go. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word, and until next time, have a good afternoon. Goodbye.